Brent Fikowski here. We're talking about the rower. So really quick video on some very basics, just kind of top line information on how to properly row. This is a Concept 2 rowing machine, great piece of equipment. So first, the only thing you can really adjust is this right here. So you can move this up and down depending on the size of your foot. And what you want is for this strap to cross your foot at the widest point. So you can see here, the widest point of my foot, sort of right where the ball of my big toe is, that is where I want the strap to rest. So if I go here, you can tell that is much too low. We want it up here. So in order to do that, I'm gonna loosen this. I'm gonna bring this down. I like to put it on setting number 5. That works best for me. Tighten it up really good, and that is where I want my foot strap to be whenever I'm rowing. So that's step 1. Now let's cover how to actually row. All right, grab this paddle, grab this handle with both hands, double overhand. You don't need to grab it so you're so tight that your knuckles are white. When you do that, I find that people end up pulling too much with their arms. Grab it just hard enough that it's not gonna slip out of your hands. So to start the stroke, you're gonna start in this starting position. You need to make sure your shoulders are in front of your hips. You don't need to try to get your hips all the way to your heels here. You wanna keep your heels ideally on this platform the entire time. If they raise up a little bit, mine do. Not the end of the world, but just make sure as soon as you start the stroke, you're pushing with your entire foot and those heels should come back down real quick. You shouldn't be just pushing the entire time on the balls of your feet. So, starting position here. Arms are straight, knees are not touching and they're not out. Your knees are just gonna naturally track right in line with your feet the entire time. Your arms will stay outside of your knees the entire time. Leaning forward, shoulders in front of the hips, back relatively straight. It can be a little bit arched, but shouldn't be like this. And definitely doesn't need to be like this either. Just sort of in between, natural position. Now, as soon as you start pushing here, you're gonna really push really hard with your legs. You need to brace a little bit in your core. Imagine someone's gonna punch you in the gut and you have to tighten up your core a little bit there. Same thing with your lats. So you're going to push the shoulders down, which is gonna engage these lats, tighten up your core, and you're going to push, keeping your arms straight, push with your legs. Don't think about pulling with your arms yet, think about pushing with your legs. You're gonna push with your legs, you're gonna keep those shoulders in front of the hips, and then as the knees extend, you're going to start to lean back, and you're gonna finish by leaning back. You don't need to lean back this far, but you should be leaned back relatively far, and as that speed transfers through, you're gonna do a quick pull with the arms to the chest, so you're gonna go right below the chest line there, the bra line right below the nipples. Contact, push right back out. So you're gonna pull in and snap right back out, and then return in a relaxed manner to that starting position. So let's see a few nice, strong strokes using that technique. Last thing you need to know about how to row effectively is this fella right here, the damper. So a lot of people ask, well, what number of rowing do you row on? Are you on a 6? Are you on an 8? That doesn't really matter. So the damper allows more air into the flywheel. It does not affect resistance. It's a lot like the gears on a bicycle. It changes how rowing feels, but it does not change the resistance. So what number should you have it on? What's not really important, the number you have it on, because every machine is gonna feel a little different. What matters is the actual drag factor you're on. So you can find your drag factor by going to Menu, More Options, Display Drag Factor, and you can start rowing. Take a couple strokes and it's gonna show you what drag factor you're on. So I'm on 131, 130, there we go. Now I'm going to bring this down and we're gonna see the drag factor decrease. So what drag factor is right for you? It depends on how you row. Really, it depends on how much you weigh. So depending on how much you weigh, you're gonna go somewhere between 100 drag factor typically and 140. I like to be on about a 130, which is kind of right above 5, so let's call it like a 6.2, at least on this machine. I like to row on a 130. There have been world records broken on 120. Apparently like 123 is the sensation of water. So usually 100 is for really lightweight people, maybe if you're like 125, 135 pounds, and then 140 is going to be if you're a big fella. So if you're upwards of, let's say, 250 pounds. So that's kind of the range. We have a spreadsheet on that in the Train Your Weakness when you get the program to help you determine what the appropriate drag factor is for you, but keep between that 100 and the 140. Check it out on the monitor. Now you know. That's it.